process. You've deported United States citizens. You've undermined the courts. You've broken the law. You've engaged in corruption, and you've weaponized the immigration system to violate civil rights. As Senator Murphy perfectly stated, your department is out of control. But you're responsible. You have betrayed the sacred fundamentals of your oath. And I believe to my core that you are.
What unfolded in Congress today was not routine oversight. It was one of the most confrontational and consequential moments yet between a sitting cabinet secretary and a member of the House of Representatives. If you are looking for coverage that explains what these clashes really mean, not just the sound bites, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now so you do not miss our next report.
Gentlelady's time has expired. I now recognize Ms. Ramirez for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Chairman. Secretary, it's good to see you. I'm going to go straight to the questions because I have a lot of them. Let me start just following up with Congressman Goldman about judiciary. Do you agree that the judiciary is a co-equal branch of government and it is your obligation as a member of the executive branch to honor decisions made by the highest court of the land? Yes or no, Secretary?
We are
Yes.
abiding by all federal judges' orders,
So
absolutely.
yes, it's a co-equal branch of government. Okay, well, let me ask you a follow-up question to that. Do you agree that Congress is a co-equal branch of government and it is your obligation as a member of the executive branch to honor legislation and appropriations duly authorized by Congress? Yes or no?
Yes, that's why I'm
Thank you.
thrilled to work.
Well, let
for
me
the
ask you the
president that is
follow-up question
enforcing
here because I
laws.
have a lot of them. Do you agree that Article 1 of the Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse? Yes or no?
Yes, that is a duty.
Do you
of
believe
Congress to
that,
be
let me
able
ask
to
you another
appropriate
follow-up, it's
funds.
just yes or no. Do you believe you have the power to disregard congressional appropriations and unilaterally repurpose funds that have been duly appropriated by Congress? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we are not doing that.
So the
We are
answer to
using
you is
dollars
no.
as to
All
how
right,
they
well,
were
it was a yes or
appropriated.
no,
We're ensuring the
Secretary. Let me
programs have
continue. Interestingly, you said no. But since you've been Secretary, you have repeatedly disregarded the law. You have illegally impounded funds that Congress appropriated and that your branch of government must implement pursuant to the law. Yet you've closed offices established in law, including the Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, the Office of the Immigration Detention Ombudsman, the Office of the Citizenship and Immigration Services, and you've canceled contracts for programs authorized in law, including shelter and service programs and citizenship and integration grants. You've obstructed and roughed up members of this committee as they attempted to conduct congressional oversight, and then you vilified them. But my question is, if they were so bad, why were they allowed to go in after to conduct oversight? Let me just continue. You redirected funds to terrorize our communities. You created taxpayer-funded political propaganda campaigns to terrorize families and children who don't sleep at night because of the terror of those commercials that you are putting out there. You hold sick, disrespectful press conferences in my state where, let me be clear, you are not welcome. You corruptly used emergency authority to avoid procurement to make Trump's private prison donors richer by directing $45 billion for them to expand ICE detention centers. You defunded work to address real threats to the homeland, all while you pursued college newspaper editors, labor leaders, and even a Harvard scientist who failed to declare frog embryos at the airport. Clearly, we don't have time for all my questions, so I have 13 pages worth of questions that I will be submitting to the record that I expect you and the administration to answer. But here is my final question to you. When you took your oath, did you swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
So I find that laughable. You don't behave like someone who takes that oath seriously. And let me tell you why. We don't live in a dictatorship or a monarchy. Trump's will is not the guiding doctrine of this nation, and our country is not a playground for his or your twisted authoritarian fantasies. We are a democracy We defend the Constitution and we affirm the rule of law. We respect the co-equal branches of government and we uphold our rights, even when we disagree. The foundation of our nation is based on a core set of constitutional rights upon which our prosperity, our pluralism, and our peace depend on it. You, however, have been leading this work for 116 days, and in that time, you have profiled and dehumanized our neighbors. You've betrayed our constitutional commitment to due process. You've deported United States citizens. You've undermined the courts. You've broken the law. You've engaged in corruption, and you've weaponized the immigration system to violate civil rights. As Senator Murphy perfectly stated, your department is out of control, but you're responsible. You have betrayed the sacred fundamentals of your oath. And I believe to my core that you are not fit to hold the office. And I again, to your face, demand your immediate resignation. And I put it and place it on the record for all of us to see. With that, Chairman, I yield back.
Generally yields. Mr. Gabarino is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Secretary, thank you so much for being here today. I'm the chairman of the Subcommittee on Cybersecurity Infrastructure Protection, so I work with CISA a lot.
Illinois Congresswoman Delia Ramirez did not ease into her questioning of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. From her first words, Ramirez made it clear she was not there for political theater. She was there to put the Department of Homeland Security on trial in the Court of Constitutional Accountability. She began with a simple line of questioning that carried enormous weight. Ramirez asked whether the judiciary is a co-equal branch of government and whether the executive branch is obligated to follow court orders. Secretary Noem answered yes. Ramirez then moved to Congress, asking whether it too is a co-equal branch and whether DHS must honor laws and funding decisions passed by Congress. Again, Noem answered yes. This was not procedural filler. Ramirez was laying the foundation for her central accusation that despite acknowledging these constitutional limits, Secretary Noem has repeatedly violated them. According to Ramirez, under Noem's leadership, DHS has illegally impounded funds appropriated by Congress, shut down offices that were created by law, and canceled contracts for programs that Congress explicitly authorized. These included offices responsible for civil rights and civil liberties oversight, immigration detention monitoring, citizenship services, and community shelter programs. For viewers at home, this matters because Congress does not simply suggest how money is spent, it legally directs it. When an executive agency ignores those directives, it raises serious separation of powers concerns. If you want reporting that connects constitutional principles to real-world consequences, make sure you subscribe. Ramirez then escalated her accusations further. She alleged that DHS obstructed congressional oversight itself, even accusing the department of roughing up members of Congress who attempted to inspect facilities, only to later vilify them publicly. She questioned why those same members were later allowed to conduct oversight if they were supposedly such a threat. Perhaps the most explosive accusation came next. Ramirez accused Noem of corruptly using emergency authority to bypass procurement laws and direct tens of billions of dollars toward expanding private immigration detention centers. She claimed this enriched private prison companies with ties to former President Donald Trump, while defunding programs meant to address genuine homeland security threats. She contrasted that with what she described as DHS pursuing minor or symbolic cases, including targeting student journalists, labor leaders, and even a scientist detained over improperly declared research materials. Her point was clear. Resources, in her view, were being weaponized politically rather than strategically. Ramirez rejected the idea of executive power unchecked by law. She stated plainly that the United States is not a dictatorship or a monarchy, that no president's will overrides the Constitution and that the country is governed by the rule of law, not authoritarian fantasies. She reminded the room that constitutional rights, due process, and respect for co-equal branches are not optional. They are the foundation of American democracy. Subscribe now if you want analysis of moments that may shape the future of U.S. governance. Ramirez accused Noem of profiling and dehumanizing communities, undermining due process, deporting U.S. citizens, defying courts, breaking the law, and weaponizing the immigration system to violate civil rights. She cited Senator Chris Murphy's earlier remark that DHS is out of control, then placed responsibility squarely on Noem's shoulders. Her conclusion was unmistakable. Ramirez stated that Secretary Noem is not fit to hold office and formally demanded her immediate resignation, placing that demand on the official congressional record. This exchange was not symbolic. It signaled growing pressure within Congress to confront what some lawmakers see as an unprecedented expansion of executive power inside DHS. Whether those accusations lead to investigations, litigation, or political consequences remains to be seen. What is clear is that this was not just a clash of personalities. It was a constitutional reckoning played out in real time. If you want to stay informed as this story develops, subscribe to the channel and share this report with someone who wants to understand what is really happening inside Washington.